Now, from what you're talking about, Dave, I'm getting the word transition in my head. You've been through a transition from the media, you know. Tell us about your transition into comedy and acting.
Well, I think they're all quite unusual in how things happen. Again, I think social media can be a really good thing. It can be used for good. And again, it was someone was running classes for people with anxiety and depression, and they were doing three things. They were doing writing, they were doing learn to play the guitar, and they were doing stand-up comedy. And I decided that I would try stand-up comedy. Mm-hmm. So the guy who was running the stand-up comedy course had a diagnosis of schizophrenia, mm-hmm. and he'd been able to manage his condition, and he'd still been able to perform stand-up comedy. So I was kind of intrigued.
Yeah, so that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, there was only two of us who were brave enough to try the stand-up comedy course, and it was very, very short. And he said, here's a couple of things you need to consider: what you love, what you hate, and if you were God, you know. I want you to write for 2 minutes about what you love, what you hate, and if you were God. So we sat down and we wrote this, and he came round half an hour later and he says, what you got? So I showed him what I'd got. And my mum had just been attacked by a seagull in Kirkcaldy, and she'd had a heart attack.
Yeah.
And we all laugh about it now. At the time, it was pretty scary.
Oh, yeah.
She's fine. But that just got me sparking off about, you know, my hatred of the seagulls in Kirkcaldy. So the other guy, he had written his piece, and he was on first. And to be honest, he was so nervous that it made me feel as if, well, I'm nervous, but I don't know if I'm as anxious as this guy. And he got up and he performed his 2-minute set on stage in front of, I think, about 6 people and a dog. And so I thought, well, if he can do it, I can do it. So I jumped on stage and I did 2 terrible minutes about my mum being attacked by a seagull, and a couple of people clapped at the end, and that was the start of it.
Sorry, in my head, I'm just remembering your set at Five Frights last week. I'm still chuckling over it.
All right.
Now, I'm just wondering how that felt for you, because you spent years behind the camera, if you like. And I'm wondering what that's like for you being on the stage now.
Yes, I mean, every night is different, and there's no sense that you've got an idea of how the audience are going to deal with your material. You literally don't. I think if you think you know what's going to happen to the audience, then you're probably not doing it right, or you probably don't care enough about it, because it really is. I do my comedy the way I live my life. I try things. Some things will work and some things won't, and it's learning from the things that work and the things that don't. And it is a process that you have to be honest enough about. Even if you personally like something and it's not working, you try it 3 times and it's not working. You have to respect comedy enough to be able to take some of your material away and put other stuff in, mm-hmm. that makes people laugh, because it's about making people laugh. I think when you start doing it, it's probably to make you feel a bit better, mm-hmm. probably a bit catharsis, because you want to laugh about stuff. And I do a mental health set as well, because I've spoken to people with mental health, and they're like, well, don't wrap us in cotton wool. You know, if you've got something funny to say about an aspect of mental health, well, say it, and if we find it funny, it's funny. Uh-huh. So it's not wrapping your audience in cotton wool, and there will be an edge to it. There will be an edge to your material, because otherwise I don't think things are. I like things to mean something in comedy. I don't just like to make jokes for the sake of it. I like it to have a bit of a message as well, but not kind of rammed down the audience's throat, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. What does creativity mean for you, David? Because I get the sense from what you're saying, it's been a big part of your entire life.
Yeah, and I think it started from a place of not accepting the world as it is. Mm-hmm. If you know what I mean. When I was a kid, I was into music, and I became a punk. So a lot of my friends were not punks; they were into something else, and that creates a tension because you're going against the status quo, if you like. You're trying something different, and they're like, well, you're not my pal because you're a punk now. And it's like, well, I can still be your pal, but I want to try different things. I want to see how it feels to be a punk. I want to listen to new music and things like that.
I want to be me.
I want to be me. And I think it is about challenging the status quo. You know, it's kind of going against what we've got just now. Because I think if you're kind of awkward today about things, then you're probably just going to be you're probably just going to be tomorrow's establishment. You know, if you're awkward today, you're probably just going to fit in the next day. And I like to see creativity as not fitting in. You know, as fitting in with everything else. You know, and I've always kind of worked to do things that don't quite fit in with everything else that's going on.
Now, speaking of creativity, you're producing a show at the Edinburgh Fringe next year. Are you able to tell us anything about that yet?
I started this process this time last year,
Yeah.
and so I'm not much further forward with it, but it will happen. The show is going to be a one-man multimedia show. I understand the audience, and I understand that an audience sitting looking at me for 50 minutes is just going to give them a sore bum, you know. What's the multimedia at the back to kind of take the focus off me a bit? But the show, I can exclusively reveal that the show will be called Middle-Aged and Mental because it is about being middle-aged and mental. And I use the word mental because I'm actually taking that back for people who have a mental health issue. I'm actually reclaiming that for us as a word we can use for ourselves. We want to. Not everybody's going to. But I think it's that edge. It's about creating a debate around what is mental health. And, of course, you're going to be up against 3,500 other shows. So you need you know, a big noise out there to be heard in the Edinburgh Fringe. So I've decided to call it Middle-Aged and Mental. I'm in talks at the moment with a few venues. So probably 40 to 60 seat venues at the Fringe, and I'm going to try and do it for 3 weeks. I did a little bit at this year's Fringe, which I really enjoyed, working with a guy called Richard Pulsford, who is a full-time comedian, and he invited me onto his show. So I really, really enjoyed that process, but I want to have a go at my own one-man show next year in Edinburgh. So...
we can't wait to hear more about it. I think it's going to be brilliant. Now, Holding the Space is a sound archive. If someone is listening to this 100 years from now, what would you like them to know about you?
Well, I'm thinking if they're listening to it in 100 years from now, they'll be on Mars, I think. Especially if they're treating the planet. If they don't treat the planet a bit better, then we're definitely going to be listening to this from Mars. But I'd just like them to know I think when you mentioned transition, I used to always think I wanted to be known for the things I did, like producing stuff. But now I just want to be known for somebody who helped people. And I don't necessarily want them to know my name. I was talking about this the other day, to be honest. And what I really would love, particularly with my work in mental health, is I would love someone to, I know it's 100 years away, but I'd like someone to know that their grandfather or something got help when they were in trouble with their mental health, but they can't remember who the guy was that they spoke to. So I'd really love that, you know, because it's not about me. So, and also the other thing I'd like them to know about me is, and in general, I think it's okay to get stuff wrong if you're trying to do the right thing. So I'd like people to know that I'll get some things wrong when I'm talking to people or giving advice, but I want people to know that it's coming from a place that I really want to help you to get your best life ever. So I've kind of changed in that regard. It used to be all about me, look at me. But now it's all about what I can do for other people. So that's what I'd like people to think about me in 100 years' time.
Oh, that's beautiful, David. I like that. Now, if people wanted to find out more about David, where would they go to get more information?
Well, at the moment, I'm doing a lot of open mic nights, so too many to mention. So I'm just called David Cruickshanks as a comedian, and I'm on a Facebook page, David Cruickshanks Comedian, and I'm on Twitter at the Unreal David C, because I know a lot of people who want to be known as the real Donald Trump and the real Nicky Campbell, but I just want to be known as the Unreal David C. So you can find the Unreal David C on Twitter. And all good outlets of Woolies, if they still exist.
Thank
you. Always to buy my Christmas DVD next year in the bargain basement bit at Aldi.
Oh. Thank you so much, David. That's been an absolute pleasure. David Cruickshanks, actor, comedian and campaigner for mental health awareness. Thank you so much for spending time with me and holding the space.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.